Good evening, folks. It's Friday, and I hope you're well. 1st of March. Look out for the Mad March hares. Bit of an eclectic video this evening. More of a compendium for you to choose from, I suppose, because not everything I say will be to your palate, as they say in posh circles. What I say may offend, it may tick you off, as they say. Or you might think, do you know what? I've never thought of it that way. So what I want to say is trying to explain to you what goes on in here for me. It's all about me, of course. Isn't life like that? I used to laugh when people say there's no I in the word team. Well, teams. I can never be into team sports. I could never see the benefit. What's the achievement? We won as a team. This is what football supporters say. We won, yeah. Well, they haven't. It's not them in the spectators. We won, yeah. It's just a joke, isn't it? Really, they're not the winners. The guys in the battle are the winners. You know, it's like boxing. Yeah, it's a one-on-one. Yet the supporters seem to think they win. Yeah, we won because they identify, because they lack their own personal identity. Sad that it says team sports. Never a team player in that respect, folks. Never. I'm very much a loner in that respect. How can you say that you achieve great things when your football team wins? You didn't achieve dick, quite frankly. The team did. Oh, your support, yes, your claps and raves and waving around and wearing their colours. Oh, yes, that really made a difference. Not. Another thing that strikes me rather strange in life is why is it, and I often ask my parents this, not that my parents are guilty of it very often, we're often, well, more often than not, more courteous to total strangers than we are to our family. And it always seems a bit inverted, that does. Why would I speak more nice or nicer, more polite to a total stranger, and yet speak to my family like dirt? Not that I do. It doesn't make sense. It's the same as where you treat people. You wouldn't treat a stranger the way you treat some of your relatives or your family, would you? Or your children or your wife or your husband. But, you know, it's like having a major row. It always surprises me that if you're in the middle of an argument, if you do have such arguments, rare that people don't argue in a relationship, that, you know, you're busy at it, raised voices, etc. You know how emotional it can get. And then the phone rings. Now, you know, when men answer the phone, it's very much, yeah, I'll call you back. Bye, yeah, bye. And, you know, you can be quite abrupt, and that's me. It's not a good time. Get lost. Hang up. But when a woman answers it who's in the middle of raving at you, oh yeah, they're nice as pie. You know, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Can I ring you back? Yeah, bye, Shirley. And then they're back at it. It's this big game people play with one another. But it's notwithstanding that, we often do and are guilty of speaking to total strangers far more politely, in a more polite manner, than we are to our family and loved ones. That rather seems a strange boat to me to float upon. I think also I want to get across, really, let's look at some of the basics. Let's get back to basics, folks, about how it is and where we're going on this good ship that we all sail upon. took me some time really to get my head around the reasons why I do things the way I do them. Have you ever wondered that? Why do I do it this way? Or why do I think this way? What's caused me to think this way or do things like that? Maybe we learn off our parents. Maybe we learn off our peers. Why do you do that? I've told you the story before why when I was first married, way back, my wife used to cut the tips off each side of bacon and fry it. And I often wondered, why do you do this? I never had the guts to ask her. Just thought, well, whatever. About a centimetre or two off each end of bacon. Such a waste. But there we are, that's her way of cooking. And then I said, why do you do this? He says, well, when I watched your mum doing the cooking, when we were courting, yes, nice word, she used to do it. And I said, oh, why did my mum do it? He says, well, I don't really know. It's the way I watched her do it. I thought that's the way you cook bacon. Phone my mum up to find out why she did it. So she did. And my mother explained that she used to cut the edges off the bacon because without doing that, the edges used to hang over the frying pan because the frying pan wasn't that big. That's all. The bacon was longer than the frying pan. And she used to chop the little tips off. That's all. And my wife did exactly that. She thought it was the way to cook bacon, and it wasn't. Our frying pan at home, because we'd advanced, my wife and I, we got quite a big frying pan. There was no reason. You see, the reason for the action was totally illogical. It was logical for my mother, but it was illogical for us. But hey-ho, that's tradition for you. Well, this is a mistake with tradition, isn't it? Tradition. Yes, some traditions aren't worth passing on or adopting, are they? When you look at the true reasons behind traditions, hey, life moves on. Frying pans get bigger. Yes, you see, the rules of the game change, the external environment changes, and we have to change as well. And so many people are stuck in the past. It's like when we have discussions or heated debates, and is it always the case that we bring out ancient history? We just won't let it go. We're like a dog with a bone on many occasions. And why don't you say something new? We have this argument repeatedly. You keep dragging the same old thing, trying to hurt one another and point score. So I don't do that. I refuse point blank, because a man who makes no mistakes evidently doesn't do anything. And it's the same for women and children. Of course we will make mistakes, but the problem is you don't want repetition to be the mother of skill with mistakes, do you? Keep making the same mistakes. The end result will be the same. The trick is to get a bigger frying pan. Okay, but I want to talk about the basics, and the basics of the world that we're living in at the moment and how it's changed. Oh, how it's changed. I do hanker after the old days. Yes, diphtheria, malaria, polio, all these things were a subject to, but they were good old days, weren't they? Even TV series called Good Old Days once. We hanker after the security and the love, but because that's what we felt comfortable in, because at the time we learned to love that. We were so vulnerable and it kept us safe. And then we left home and started to build our own nests and have our own offspring. And we had to become hunter-gatherers for our family. And that's when the game rules change. And this is what I want to talk about. How to look after your family and yourselves and get the best out of the life. So there are certain truisms which I want to convey to you in these videos. These are the way I suppose, run my life, and I'm nothing special. I make mistakes, yes, but I am the first to admit it and apologise for doing so, because I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect because I understand, quite frankly, and do appreciate that I understand that there is so much out there. I understand what I need to know, and I also understand what it is I'm lacking. And clever people like you and me, we know that we are wise because we know what we don't know. Isn't that a strange thing to say? I don't know a hell of a lot more than what I know, so there's plenty to learn, and life is every day we learn something. Every day we have things happen to us that we should take stock and learn and not do it again, or maybe do it again because it's good. And life is like this. The irony is, by the time we pretty much got it sussed, we're just too old to give a rip, quite frankly. And this is why people are towards the twilight of their years, they start to get a bit scruffy. It doesn't matter. We'll fudge it. Yeah, when I've heard it in the past, I did it this way, but hey ho, you know, it doesn't really matter. It matters. It truly does matter. Do the best you can with what you have. That's what I say. Okay. And there's one thing we cannot get back, is time. And yet we waste so much of it on such trivia like watching television, which has never done man no good, no how, ever. Man, woman, politically correct person, age. Well, so one of my peeves in life is the fact that in Britain they fluoridate our water for no justifiable reason. Within that, when you ask why they fluoridate the water, they give us the stock answer, do the water authorities in this country. Well, it prevents tooth decay, or at least hinders the formation of tooth decay. There is no evidence, none, zero evidence, that sodium fluoride, which is a rat poison, in our water reduces the rate or prevents tooth decay. It's a complete lie. Sodium fluoride / rat poison is a byproduct of aluminium production. And the world is swimming in this byproduct, in barrels upon barrels upon barrels of this white powder, greyish white powder. What are they going to do with it all? Well, it costs a fortune to dispose of this stuff. They used to seal it up in big barrels and go to the deep oceans and dump it over the edge like they do with nuclear waste into the deep depths of our oceans. But that's expensive. I know this is the wise thinking of our leaders who care so much about our tooth decay. We'll feed it to them. We'll put it in the drinking water, and the mugs out there will have it. And the benefit for them is that sodium fluoride is also a mental suppressant. It stops us thinking clearly, and it really is the equivalent of neutering or castrating the human to stop them getting so aggressive and assertive and intelligent. It's a whack on the head for most people. It's dumbing us down, and this is why they used to use it. And this idea came from the Soviet Union, Russia. They used to use it in the Gulag archipelago to keep them dumb and compliant and reduce their aggressive behavior. And this is how the Nazis used to use it in the concentration camps. You see, it's been around a long time, this mental kosh called sodium fluoride. And the argument that the Dental Association use is that the clinical evidence has proven in a clinical trial in America, before they started this nonsense. How are they going to sell it to the idiots about putting it in the drinking water? We'll do a test. So we get 50 kids on one school and 50 kids on another. Okay, both with equal rates of dental decay. Let's say they're 10 years old, getting their secondary teeth. Okay. Well, they're evidently not cleaning their teeth properly, but there are both sets of 50s in each school have equal amounts of tooth decay. So they gave fluoridated toothpaste to group A and non-fluoridated toothpaste to group B. So group B had no fluoride and group A got the fluoride, lucky little things. And this is how we brush our teeth. We had adverts all over the television. This is Tufty, some squirrel doing his little teeth with a toothbrush up and down. And they, oh yes, you got to have sodium fluoride. So they allowed the lot in A to have the fluoride and the lot in B didn't have the fluoride in their toothpaste. After 6 months, they noted that the group in the children in group A with the fluoride, their rate of tooth decay suddenly declined. They had less fillings. And it was instantly decided that, you see, the rate of tooth decay has come down because of the fluoride. And that was it. Decision made, worldwide almost, fluoridating the water for the folk. Because it's good for our teeth, it strengthens the enamel. But it gives us fluorosis. Too much fluoride. It makes grey specks all over our teeth. You often see it nowadays. Okay? And not only does it dumb us down, it gives us marks all over our teeth called fluorosis. But the kids had less fillings. This has got to be good. British Dental Association, American Dental Association went crazy. Well, it's a problem solved. That's it. Every time you make toothpaste, put this white powder in with it. Save us having to pay for the disposal. Let the little suckers put it in their toothpaste. What else will we do? I know they drink a lot of water as well. They're putting in the drinking water. Can't get enough of their crap. The mental kosh. The poison. It's problem solved for the aluminium production business, isn't it? But hang on. What about the children in school B? The ones with 0 fluoride in their toothpaste. How did their teeth fare compared to the school that had the fluoride? Well, their filling rate went down as well. My God, that was kept quiet. Absolutely was. Why wasn't it advertised that, or mentioned that school B's tooth decay had equally gone down? Well, the reason behind it, of course, is that the children were cleaning their teeth 3 times a day because they were under the spotlight. It's not the fact that the toothpaste had fluoride in it that reduced the rate of decay. It's the fact is that kids were doing clinical trials which necessitated them cleaning their teeth for once, because you know how children are. That's all. And this was the scam that was used to use a shoehorn in getting sodium fluoride in the human digestive tract throughout countries that adopted this nonsense. Now, if you go to Denmark, a country that is forward-thinking and loves its citizens, they are lovely people, they don't fluoridate their water. In fact, they don't pollute their drinking water. Not at all. But in Great Britain, one of the advanced, just as advanced as Denmark, of course, you would think, but it's not, because Great Britain still fluoridates its drinking water. What a disgrace. It's about time we revisited this nonsense about poisoning the general population, because I can guarantee you categorically that those in the know, like the royal family and others, the elites, the 1%ers or 5%ers even, they do not drink water out of the tap. And they do not have fluoride in their toothpaste. It's not in the equation. It's not on their shopping lists, folks. But you can't tell people this, can you? Because they won't listen. And this is why I don't drink tap water in the United Kingdom. I filter it with a Berkey water filter, a very, very powerful way, gravity fed. It takes all the crap out, and I filter my water with a fluoride filter. Yes. And my rate of tooth decay hasn't gone up at all. And I always clean my teethy pegs. But it demonstrates the deceptiveness, doesn't it? The government have a problem, or manufacturers have a problem. What are we going to do with this crap? Let's make them eat it. They'll be dead soon anyway. They won't even object. And we'll be less violent in the streets. Well, I don't see any reduction in violence in our streets. The knifings in the United Kingdom have certainly gone up. It seems to be flavour of the year, carrying a knife around and stabbing each other. Well, we know what causes that. Our ethnic brethren, who think nothing of slicing each other up and beheadings. They're happy to carry knives around, it seems. Yes, it's on the increase in the United Kingdom. So, fluoridated water out. Okay. We have to, why do we rationalize things in our life? Do you know what we do? We rationalize to ourselves. That's what it is. We do the words, a bit like Jordan Maxwell, much as I love him. You know, he dissects words. And it's very true. We rationalize to ourselves. Well, it's a perfectly rational thing to do. No, it's not. It isn't. And yet when you teach all the dentists at university that sodium fluoride is good for the teeth, it's brainwashing, folks, and that's what it all is. And we are so easily brainwashed. Look into my eyes, I tell you. So that aside, but the other great con of society has been causing is to give us this great cholesterol con. In fear of repeating myself, this is how I run my life. And I discovered this a little bit too late. But once I discovered it, I applied it immediately, and I was thoroughly peed off because of what trick had been pulled on. But I needn't act the victim here, because you too are a victim. We all are, to some degree, victims of those who seek to downsize the world's population. There's no escaping this. We have to be on our guard. To the point, yes, of being absolutely paranoid. What am I talking about? I'm talking about getting back to basics, folks. That's what we've got to do. People say it was not as good now as it was in the old days, but what made the old days good? Apart from the fact is that certain things aren't necessarily better because they're older. Yes, our modern medicines and the vaccines to some degree, and the surgery have improved but the basic system still works. We are humans haven't changed, not really. Our anatomy and physiology and the way we work hasn't changed at all. Worldwide, we're all the same. Yes, I agree, black people do suffer from different diseases to white Caucasians. Black people get a disease called sickle cell. Not all of them. Certain black people. Okay, where the sickle cell means that their red blood cells aren't circular, they're like a sickle, like a big fat curve. And they're not very good at carrying oxygen around, and they are very sticky. So black people suffering from sickle cell can be quite a painful disease to suffer from, and it's incurable. They often get blood clots and are prone to DVTs, and they lack oxygen because the surface area of the red blood cell isn't as big as our surface area, so they carry less oxygen around in their red blood cells. And that's a real thing to have to carry around all your life. It's not a nice disease, but it's an inherent disease. But what made the old days great? For the most part, for humans, the biggest difference in this century, folks, has been the introduction. The biggest negative difference has been the introduction of vegetable oils in our diet, replacing dairy products. Dare I mention the word butter? You know, in the 40s and the 50s, nearly even in the 60s, we were quite happy to consume lashings of butter, full-fat dairy, raw dairy milk straight from the cow, and the thicker the cream, the better. And the cakes were wonderful, the cream cakes were fantastic. And chips, don't get me going on chips, or fries as they call them. Cooked in animal fat. Yes, lard or dripping. Oh yes, I'm salivating now, excuse me. And then all of a sudden some bright spark come out with this business about vegetable oil from hemp. And if you squeeze the little hemp seed so hard, this little juice, it's an oil, very oil rich little seed. And guess what? Yes, it's very cheap to produce. And guess what? It's an oil. And you can cook food in vegetable oil. And you can flavour it even. And it's just the same. It ain't. Because if you expose vegetable oil to high temperatures, folks, and then consume it, you're drinking down what they call trans fats. And you're eating trans fats. And it's the trans fats that get broken down by our body in a chemical process. Okay? And they shoot off like little bullets, things called free radicals. And it is free radical bullets that damage the arteries and arterioles and the microvessels in our body. And that's why there's been a huge increase in coronary artery disease, myocardial infarctions and heart attacks. In America, suddenly people were eating this stuff, and the body cannot break it down. And if the body can't break something down, or it gets too much of something, it stores it as fat. And the bodies that are eating, this is why in the 40s and 50s, Americans are lean, mean fighting machines. You wouldn't want to mess with them. But look at them now. They are the nation's, the world's fattest country, aren't they? Yet it's not their fault. The only way to slim America down is to abolish vegetable oils and take it out the human food chain. Okay. Human beings are carnivores, folks. That's why they have canine teeth. Yes, I get it. People do like to be vegetarians. Good for them. But the people who are oversized blimps, it's not their fault. If they became vegetarians and stopped putting vegetable oils on their salads, which are fattening, it's basically making no difference putting salad dressing all over vegetables. Well, there we are. That's why America is in a state and Britain is getting fast behind it. And dairy products have been vilified. And if you don't think that the introduction of vegetable oils is just as guilty as sodium fluoride killing off the population, you're sadly mistaken. Because that's what it was designed to do. It's been a con, the great cholesterol con, from start to finish. High cholesterol, folks, has never killed anybody. Never, never, never killed anybody. The great cholesterol con has never killed anybody. Low cholesterol will kill you, but not high. And yet, it's been made a pariah, as this word cholesterol. But our brains are made fundamentally from a huge portion of cholesterol. Our brain needs cholesterol. And there are 4 types of cholesterol, 2 upper and 2 lower. And yet our GPs are obsessed with this. Oh, you have to watch it, your cholesterol's a bit high, we have to get you on a statin. What's that? Statins, the world's fastest, bestest, highest selling drug ever invented by the pharmaceutical companies that will make you dumber than a bag of frogs. But it'll drop your cholesterol. Folks, your body knows what to do, what is best for you. So stop listening. If you're doing the statins, get off them. Because just eat what you like. Okay? Because if your body decides that it wants to set the cholesterol at a set amount, it knows what it's doing. Body will not self-destruct. Because this decision to reduce your cholesterol isn't something left in our stupid mind of abilities. We shouldn't do this. We have to let our body run itself. It knows best. The body knows best. Listen to it. If your body gives you a high cholesterol, leave it alone. It's because it's needed. If you have high blood pressure, the doctor will shove you on blood pressure pill, reduce your blood pressure because you're in danger of... Your body has decided that in your current state, you need that high blood pressure. It might not be good for you, but the body's doing its best with what you have made it into. You want to reduce your blood pressure? Lose weight. Stop smoking. Stop doing things like getting involved in stress. Okay? The body is only trying to counteract the damage you, for the most part, are doing. The other thing we should avoid, folks, is this stuff called snow white and deadly, called sugars. Sugar is probably responsible for huge depopulations of countries. Snow white and deadly. It is the only pure food source that cancer cells will eat. If you want to starve cancer, folks, stop consuming sugar. So all these things have a reason. Your body is your best doctor. Okay. So there we are. The sodium fluoride. Get it out. Go and buy sodium fluoride free toothpaste. Stay away from anything with fluoride in it. Stay away from trans fats, vegetable oils. Okay. Stay away from statins. And get your life back on track. And that's what I did. I was a bit of a late adopter. I wish I quit smoking a lot earlier. In fact, I wish I'd never started. If there's one regret I have in my life, it was ever smoking. I wasn't a great drinker, and I don't generally drink. Maybe one beer a week, which is a little bottle of Bud, if I can be bothered. And I eat pretty much what I want to eat, but I don't eat vegetable oils. They are not in our house. And it's a joint effort between my wife and I to make that decision. And hey ho, it works well. If you're going to consume vegetable oils like olive oil, don't cook it. By all means, dip your bread in raw olive oil. Wonderful. Coconut oil, absolutely. But don't expose it to heat on a cooking grill, because then you make it a poison. There we are. So there's nothing wrong with animal fats. Your body love them, man. They'll get the energy. It'll get the energy that it needs in a purest form it loves to deal with, without the side effects of having free radicals. What other things do the government thrust upon us to make sure we have an early demise? Let us have a think. I think it's called stress. The nations of the world's #1 killer. Okay. But on top of that, the government's produced vaccines that, quite frankly, my dear, are another way and part of the eugenics program. And we know what that is. And these are things that I've learned a little late in life, I'm sad to say. But if you're younger than me, I'm 58 coming up this year. If you're younger than me, you're ahead of the game. Go tomorrow and buy yourself sodium fluoride free toothpaste. No fluoride. Go in your kitchen and throw all out the vegetable oils, the cooking fats, and return to dairy products. Drink whole milk. Get out of your life skimmed and semi-skimmed milk. Out. Full fat milk. Because if you only knew the horrors and chemicals involved in having to defat milk, if you like, become red top and green top, you should be drinking gold top. That's what you should be drinking as nature intended. Well, we're not allowed to, straight out the cow. Here's the other great con of the world. Okay, eggs. You can't get enough of eggs. This isn't a diet video, by the way. And Edwina Currie stuck a foot and screwed with the British egg market, because eggs are wonderful for you, especially chicken eggs. You know, oh, protein, man. That's what you want. Free range eggs are the best. If you know anybody who's got chickens running around the yard, yeah. But people buy free range eggs in the supermarket. They're about as free range as my Aunt Fanny. But the real good eggs are the ones that you know a mate who's got a few chickens. Go and make friend with him and buy free range eggs every time. You've got more chance of catching salmonella from eggs bought in a supermarket than you have off a bloke down the road, local farmer, produces eggs. Well, as chickens do. And these are little life skills that I've learned to adopt. On a personal note, I used to write technical manuals quite a bit, and talk about change of subject in closing. And I used to have to do pages and pages of technical manuals. I wasn't copying things. I would look at a piece of equipment and then write an article and write instructions for using it and what taking care of it. It can be pretty much technical author. And I used to put in lots of big jargony words and, you know, gilding the lily, they used to call it. How can you make something as boring as a pair of plastic spectacles excepting, well, you gild the lily, you can't make a lily prettier by putting gold edges on it, because nature's done a good enough job, and that's what they mean by gilding the lily. How can I make this appear more exciting than what it truly is? Because it is exciting, they're my glasses. But because I gild the lily by putting gold paint on it and gilding it, it doesn't make it any more useful and attractive to me. It suits the purpose. But no, you've got to do technical authorship. You've got to do the big sales pitch and make it sound as fantastic. And this is what they do in our lives, folks. But I found that even now that caused me a lot of damage. Because in the world of emails, I try to work on the philosophy of KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't use 30 words when you can get away with using 5. And the words that are in between the words that really matter are called filler words. They're just filler. You know, they're superlative. They're not required, really. Superlative. So I've had to really do this in my life. I had to cut down the crap in my life. I throw things away a lot. I have annual chuckouts and giveaways. And I'm a minimalist. Because I recognise it's not a case of I don't want anyone to have it when I'm gone. But I don't want to lug it around either. I don't want to be surrounded by junk. That's all. Very simple. There's less problems then to sort out for my relatives that I leave behind. To what are we going to do with all this crap? We may as well dispose of it now. And the thing is, what makes you truly happy, folks, isn't what you got. It's who you are and who you live with and what you do. How do you contribute to the society? Do you feel happier when you're helping other people? Oh, for sure. It gives me great pleasure to pull up people and support them. Because most of our people we're surrounded with or by will be only too glad to push you down if it makes them look taller. But the trick is, okay, great people are great because they make little people feel great or become great. And that separates the wheat from the chaff. You can always see people who are great. And then you wonder, if you listen, much as I dislike them, many reasons, but if you listen to the speeches done by some of the people in the House of Lords, been there, done it, got the t-shirt, haven't they? They've been there, these statesmen. Some of the best brains on the planet are in the House of Lords. When you sit to listen to their reasons of argument and they are crystal clear and they are analytical, because obviously they have the time to be analytical. But sometimes they are absolutely logical. And this is what I apply now to my decision process. Does it make sense? Or is there lots of filler words in this situation? They're beefing it out to make it appear more than it really is. So be on your guard and realize that the government do nothing altruistic for the citizens. They truly don't. There has to be a benefit for them before there's even a thought of a benefit for us. The tough problem is, how do they sell us the idea that we have a benefit at all? Because we're getting more savvy. No inoculations, thanks very much. No sodium fluoride, thanks very much. No vegetable oils, thanks very much. I filter my drinking water, thank you very much. I've stopped being a consumer and getting stressed over money. Because guess what? The less you want, materialistically, the less money you need. Stop dreaming of the big house, because all it means having a big house is that you've got a bigger house. So what? You can only fill 1 cubic meter at the same time by standing still, can't you? Most people are rattling around like peas in a pod because the house is too big. And how many are you? I've got Jemima and me and my wife. And yet you're living in a mansion. Oh yes, we've got this room, we've got 15 spare bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 kitchens, you name it, and we've got a cellar. But there's only the 3 of you. You see the irony, the stupidity. We've got to learn to box clever and stop being stupid and get out of this materialistic crap, because we're not here to accumulate. We're here to learn to love one another and take care of one another, regardless of race, religion, creed, colour, skin. And it starts at home. It starts with the ones you love and they love you. Okay. If somebody can't afford to smile at you, give them one of yours. I've said it before, a smile is doubly blessed. It enriches those who receive it and gives pleasure by allowing us to give it. It's doubly blessed, Shakespeare. Well, stay away from sodium fluoride. Don't eat trans fats, don't eat vegetable oils unless they're uncooked. Avoid inoculations. Stop wanting things. And look at solutions like getting a bigger frying pan. No need to cut the ends of your bacon off anymore. Look behind the decision. Look at the logic of what they're trying to say to you. Why do governments give a rip about how good your teeth are? The governments don't give a rip how many fillings our children and I or you have. Look for the reason behind the decision, because nothing motivates politicians to do anything for the people without it having a far greater benefit for the politicians than it does for the victims of their decision. Catch you tomorrow. Go chuck out, throw out of your house sodium fluoride. Start filtering your drinking water and stop drinking out the taps. It's time to get a bit more savvy. Take care, bye-bye.